Minus 20 degrees Celsius in Toronto tonight, positive 14 in Calgary. That is a 34-degree difference between two cities in the same country on the same night. If you live anywhere east of Manitoba right now, this broadcast could save your life tonight. And if you are watching from Calgary, you are going to want to hear why your city is breaking every weather rule in the book. Here is what I promise you. In the next few minutes, I am going to give you the exact timing for when this Arctic blast hits your city, when it peaks, and when it finally lets go. I am covering Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Halifax, Niagara Falls, Barrie, and London, Ontario. And stay with me until the 5-minute mark because that is where I reveal which Canadian city could see the most dangerous conditions overnight, and it is not the one you think. But first, drop a comment right now with the city or town you are watching from. I will personally respond with a forecast tailored to your area. Do it now before you forget. Let us start with what is happening across the country right now, Saturday evening, February 7th, 2026. A massive Arctic high-pressure system has pushed straight down from the polar regions. It has locked everything from Ontario to the Maritimes in a deep freeze. We are talking bone-dry, brutally cold air sitting over half the country like a frozen blanket that will not move. But here is where it gets strange. At the exact same time, a Chinook wind is blowing across southern Alberta, and Calgary is sitting at 14 degrees Celsius above zero in February. Meanwhile, Vancouver is doing what Vancouver always does. Mild, gray, rainy, completely unbothered. 3 completely different winters happening in one country on one night. Now let me break this down city by city and pay attention because every 10 to 15 seconds I am going to hit you with a number or a fact that will make you stop and think. Toronto. Buckle up. The daytime high today only reached minus 13 Celsius. That was the high. Tonight, the temperature is going to plummet to minus 20 Celsius under clear skies. And here is the thing most people do not understand. Clear skies in winter are actually the worst-case scenario for cold. There is no cloud cover acting as insulation. All the heat just radiates straight up into space. The ground, your car, your house, everything loses heat faster. Across the greater Toronto area, Mississauga, Brampton, Scarborough, North York, Etobicoke, temperatures are hovering around minus 4 to minus 5 this evening. But do not let that fool you. By midnight, you are sliding into the deep freeze. At minus 20 with any breeze at all, exposed skin develops frostbite in as little as 10 to 15 minutes. That is not a scare tactic. That is a medical fact from Environment Canada. And here is something that might surprise you. Lake Erie, the shallowest of the Great Lakes, could hit 100% ice coverage during this cold snap. When was the last time that happened? It is extremely rare. And when it does happen, it actually stops lake effect snow, but it makes the cold even more penetrating because there is no moisture left in the air, just dry, cutting Arctic cold. Toronto tonight, clear, calm, minus 20, no snow. The cold itself is the hazard. Check on elderly neighbors, bring pets inside. This is not negotiable. Now let us move 450 kilometers northeast to Ottawa. The nation's capital is sitting at minus 5 to minus 7 this evening and will drop to minus 13 to minus 15 overnight. For Ottawa, that is actually normal for February. The city averages minus 13 to minus 5 this time of year. But here is the twist. Light snow is falling tonight, about 1.9 centimeters expected. Not a blizzard, but enough to make side streets and residential roads slippery. If you are thinking about heading to the Rideau Canal Skateway, the world's largest naturally frozen skating rink, the conditions tonight are going to be frigid. A quick skate, then straight into a warming hut for a beaver tail and hot chocolate. That is the smart play. Across the river in Gatineau, same story. Minus 7 this evening, dropping further overnight. Wind chill in the Ottawa-Gatineau region tonight could make it feel like minus 20 to minus 25 Celsius. Cover every inch of exposed skin. Do not skip ahead yet. The next city is going to shock you. Montreal, deep in the grip of this Arctic air mass. Current temperatures are minus 8 to minus 9 this evening. Overnight lows are going to plunge to minus 15 to minus 18 Celsius. Now here is what makes Montreal different from every other city on this list. It sits on an island in the St. Lawrence River. Cold winds funnel along the river corridors and cut straight through the downtown core like a knife. You can be walking between 2 buildings and suddenly hit a wind tunnel that drops the temperature by another 5 to 10 degrees on your skin. But Montreal has a secret weapon. The underground réseau system, the largest underground city in the entire world. You can cross a massive chunk of downtown without ever stepping outside. If you are commuting tonight, stay underground. If you have to go to the surface, cover every bit of exposed skin. At -15 to -18, the cold does not just bite, it takes a chunk out of you. Over in Laval, just north of the island, -9 this evening. Same brutal story. Now here is your reward for staying with me this far. Let me tell you about Quebec City because this is where things get really intense. Quebec City is colder than Montreal tonight, and it should be. It sits at a higher latitude with zero moderating influences. Evening temperatures are around -7, but overnight expect a drop to -15 to -20 Celsius. But the real danger in Quebec City tonight is wind. The city is built on a bluff overlooking the St. Lawrence. Gusts channel up from the river and create localized wind chill effects that are dramatically worse than what the thermometer says. If you are walking along the Terrasse Dufferin or anywhere near the waterfront, you could be looking at wind chills that make -20 feel like -30 or worse. This is also Carnival season. If the festival is running, visitors need to be prepared for seriously frigid outdoor conditions. The snow-covered rooftops of the Chateau Frontenac look absolutely magical. But that beauty comes with a price measured in degrees below zero. Now we fly west, and this is where the story flips completely. Calgary, 14 degrees Celsius, +14. In February. While Toronto sits at -20, Calgary is 34 degrees warmer. Let that number sit with you for a moment. 34 degrees. The reason is the Chinook. For those unfamiliar, a Chinook is a warm, dry wind that descends the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. Moist Pacific air gets forced up and over the Rockies, drops all its moisture as precipitation on the western side, and by the time it comes down the eastern slopes, it has been compressed and heated dramatically. Calgary can swing from -20 to +15 in just a few hours. It is one of the most dramatic weather events on the planet. If you step outside tonight and look west, you might see the iconic Chinook Arch, a distinctive band of clear sky along the horizon where warm air is descending, with a wall of cloud above it. It is unmistakable. But here is the catch. This warmth is temporary. Once the Chinook winds die down over the next few days, Calgary snaps back to its normal February range of -4 to -13. Enjoy it tonight. Take the dog for an extra long walk. Sit on a patio if you can find one open. This will not last. 300 kilometers north, Edmonton tells a completely different story. The temperature is about 7 degrees right now, still above average thanks to the tail end of Chinook influence. But Edmonton does not get Chinooks like Calgary does. Tonight is a transition night. The warmth is fading. Arctic air is pushing back in. By midnight, temperatures will drop significantly. The existing snowpack, probably 20 to 40 centimeters on the ground, will refreeze into a hard, icy surface. Edmonton is one of the coldest major cities in North America. -30 to -40 cold snaps happen every single winter. Block heaters are not a luxury. They are survival equipment. Plug in your vehicles tonight, Edmonton, now Vancouver. If you have been watching from the West Coast, you have probably been feeling pretty comfortable. And honestly, fair enough. Vancouver is sitting at 5 degrees Celsius tonight with an overnight low of only 2 to 3 degrees. Compared to -20 in Toronto, Vancouver might as well be in the tropics. But Vancouver has its own challenge. Rain. February averages 22 rainy days and 242 millimeters of total precipitation. Tonight, expect overcast skies, drizzle to light rain, and that gray ceiling that never seems to lift. It is not dangerous, but it is relentless. Over in Surrey, about 2 degrees tonight. On the North Shore Mountains, Grouse, Seymour, Cypress, rain turns to snow above 400 to 500 meters. Great news for the ski hills. The forecast also suggests a possible light snowfall around February 12th in the city itself. If that happens, Vancouver will do what it always does when it snows. Grind to a complete halt and give the rest of Canada something to laugh about. Now here is the city I almost forgot, and forgetting this city would be unforgivable. Winnipeg, Winterpeg. The city that sits in the middle of the prairies, flat in every direction, with absolutely nothing between it and the North Pole to block the Arctic wind. Right now, Winnipeg is at about 1 degree Celsius. Surprisingly mild, but do not be fooled. This is temporary. Normal February nights in Winnipeg hit -20 to -25. During the worst cold snaps, -35 to -40 is not uncommon. At those temperatures, if you throw a pot of boiling water into the air, it turns to ice crystals before it hits the ground. Tonight, temperatures start falling sharply after midnight. The wind on the prairies, even when it is light, creates a wind chill that cuts right through everything. Plug in those block heaters, Winnipeg. Keep a winter emergency kit in the car. And here is the 5-minute promise I made you. The most dangerous conditions tonight are not in Toronto, even though it is the coldest major city. The most dangerous conditions are in Halifax. Here is why. Halifax is hovering around -6 to 0 degrees tonight. That sounds mild compared to Toronto, but Halifax has wind, gusts of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour off the Atlantic, driving the wind chill down hard. And the real killer is mixed precipitation. Rain, snow, and freezing drizzle all at once. That creates black ice, a thin, nearly invisible layer of ice on roads and sidewalks that is incredibly treacherous. You cannot see it. You cannot prepare for it in the moment. You just suddenly lose control. For Halifax and Dartmouth residents, slow down tonight. Leave extra following distance. If you are walking, take small steps. Black ice near the freezing mark with high winds is statistically more dangerous than a predictable -20 night with clear skies. That is the twist most people do not expect. Now let me give you one more stop. Niagara Falls. Temperatures around 2 to -3 tonight. Warmer than Toronto thanks to the moderating effect of both Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. But here is the spectacle. The mist from the falls freezes on every surface it touches. Railings, trees, walkways, observation platforms. The entire area becomes a kingdom of ice that glitters under the nighttime lights. With Lake Erie potentially hitting full ice coverage, Niagara could see truly extraordinary winter scenes in the coming days. Barrie, north of Toronto, near Georgian Bay, -1 to -8 tonight with possible light snow. Barrie sits in the lake effect snowbelt and gets hammered when cold air crosses Georgian Bay. London, Ontario, 1 to -5 tonight, also in the snowbelt with some of the highest annual snowfall totals in southern Ontario. So here is your summary. Eastern Canada is locked in a deep Arctic freeze. Toronto -20 overnight. Ottawa -13 to -15 with light snow. Montreal -15 to -18. Quebec City even colder with dangerous wind chill. Calgary is the outlier at +14 thanks to the Chinook, but it will not last. Edmonton is transitioning back to cold. Vancouver is mild, rainy, and unbothered. Winnipeg is about to get slammed after midnight, and Halifax has the most deceptive and dangerous conditions with black ice and high winds. My advice tonight, if you are in Eastern Canada, stay home. Crank up the furnace, throw a log on the fire, make a hot drink. If you must go out, layer up. Base layers, insulating layers, windproof shells, toques, mitts, not gloves, scarves over your face, insulated boots. Check on elderly neighbors. Bring pets inside. If it is too cold for you, it is too cold for them. If you are driving, make sure winter tires are on, battery is charged, washer fluid is rated to -40, and you have an emergency kit in the trunk. Blankets, flashlights, snacks, phone charger. Canada in winter is a country of extraordinary beauty and extraordinary extremes. From the frozen mist of Niagara to the rain-soaked streets of Vancouver, from the Chinook-warmed foothills of Alberta to the wind-blasted prairies of Manitoba, this country demands respect in the cold months, but we know how to handle it. We find joy in it, whether that is skating on the Rideau Canal, hitting the slopes at Whistler, or just sitting by a fire with people we love. That is what makes us who we are. Now here is what is coming next that you need to know about. A major system is developing that could bring significant weather changes across the country by midweek. I am tracking it closely and will have a full breakdown in the next forecast. If you do not want to miss it, follow now so you see it the moment it drops. And remember, comment your city or town below. I will give you a personalized forecast for your exact area. Stay warm, stay safe, look out for each